we create a characters, a Disney kind of character, a metal kind of characters, or NFT kind of characters. Like it's a cute character, it's a cool characters. If you go into our platform, we'll have our store where you can find a selections of characters. Oh, I like this kind of monster, or I like this IP.
Yes.
Then you can purchase the blind box. When you open the blind box, then you will get a unique character from Bythen. It can be used as first your companion, like your ChatGPT, your Grok or DeepSeek, in which you can ask many things, you can engage, but instead of it reply with text, it reply using your characters with very engaging approach.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Zeller podcast. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Kevin Mintaraga. He has an amazing story. We've been talking prior to this conversation. His background, he was the CMO of Tokopedia. Before that, his business was acquired by Tokopedia. It was called Brightstory, a very big company here in Indonesia. And now he is building an AI/crypto/ VR, AR business called Bythen. We want to go everything into that today. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, so I wanted to start off because I think like you have like a very, very interesting story. I think when I looked you up, you started with an agency, and then you moved. Your second business was Brightstory, which then got acquired by Tokopedia. And these are really like Web 2 companies. And then now you are in sort of like Web 3/AI industry. How did sort of that happen? What was the progression that you went through to actually get to this point?
Yeah, I think my fundamental thought is always finding the next blue ocean. So when I first started my agency, this was back in 2008. And at that time, I saw a surge of internet penetration, internet and infrastructures, but still very little about spending in the internet marketing space in Indonesia. And the advertising expenditure of digital marketing in Indonesia is only like 0.2% at that time. And I learned that in China, it's already like 10%. So there's going to be a big influx, right? However, there are not many people who understand digital marketing, and it's pretty much a ground zero for everybody. And I'm an autodidact. I can say that I didn't finish my high school, didn't finish my university. So basically, I need to find something with a common, fair playground in when I compete with others, right? So that's why I become interested with the digital marketing and started learning from Wikipedia what is digital marketing, and then I kind of understand and decided to start a digital marketing agency. And by the grace of God, we actually grew very fast as a company from 4 people to like 150 people in our third to fourth years, and we were acquired by WPP, which is the largest advertising and media agency globally. And those really is about building something at the right time, at the right place, right? So after the acquisitions, I stayed there for another year and decided to, find the next blue ocean, right? Like in my case, I just got married at that time in 2012, and then I realized that there is a very inefficient way to find a wedding vendor, because everything pretty much word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
Which vendor should I use, which decorator, which photographer, wedding planner, venue, and so on. So I realized that there is a need for a one-stop shop marketplace to find a wedding vendors, because wedding require a lot of planning and dealing with so many different vendors. And I learned again, I researched about the wedding marketplace in other market and found like a few unicorn in the US and in China. And I thought that, Indonesia is such a large population, people really spend a lot on wedding, why there is no player that doing this, right? And from there, I realized this is my next blue ocean. So that's where I started to build my second venture, which is the wedding marketplace.
Right.
So basically, what I can say that the red line is not really about the what's it called, the industry or the vertical. It's really about the red line is the opportunity.
Right.
right? So that's where I started building the wedding marketplace, and again, by the grace of God, we got acquired by Tokopedia in 2019, and yeah, so now I'm back with something totally different again,
Yes.
which is AI, blockchain, which I strongly believe, this is the next progressions, this is the next future, the next blue oceans
Yes.
of opportunity, and definitely up for it.
So when you talk about your last two businesses, which was a Bright Story and the agency, right? Your inspiration actually came from, let's say, a foreign example. Like you were talking about how China
Yeah.
had sort of 10% spend, and
Correct.
you were looking at marketplaces in the US.
Correct.
But when you take a look at Bythen, and maybe you can share a bit more about what Bythen does, because I think you would do a better job than me. But when you talk about Bythen, being the technology being somewhat blockchain based, somewhat AI based, you could say the blue ocean is almost infinite,
Yes, correct.
right? Because you're now on the edge of technology.
Correct.
And you're not taking any more inspiration from outside, but you're more looking at an infinite scope. So how do you sort of like get there?
Okay, that's a good question. So basically, the next blue oceans for me is really about predicting what the future will look like. And for me, maybe I take a step back first, right? So I saw some pattern first regarding the social media behaviors, right? So there are two patterns. One is the social media behavior, and the second one is the advertising budget spending, right? So the first one, when I'm at Tokopedia, I was tasked to help rejuvenate the brand and try to engage with especially the younger customer, the Gen Z. And I realized one thing, that most of them, they have two social media accounts. One is their real account, and the second one, they have a pseudonymous second account that maybe we call it netizen, right? So people that we don't know who this person is, but they freely express their opinions, freely attacking, the people that they don't like or whatsoever, right? And I try to deep dive why this is the trend. Then I realized that there are three things. The first one is because of privacy. So they want to, not show who they are because of privacy. And for example, my nephew and my niece, right? So basically, in their school, right, people actually, bully one another by taking or stealing an image of somebody and create like a deep fake photo with an explicit content and spread it in the school. So it's people are being bullied because of that, and they are afraid to actually show who they are, show their face in social media. So this is first is privacy. This is also due to development of technology such as deep fake, right? Second is a freedom of opinion, sharing the whatever in their mind without being judged, right? Because sometimes they are afraid to express their opinion because somebody who will have a different opinion, might bash or might corner them on social media, right? So they want to do this as well, right? And the third one, somehow they actually have some issue with some of them. I'm not saying all, right? Issue with self-esteem. They rather take any personal attribute bias, but they think that they have something good with what they have in mind or their opinion. So by creating this pseudonymous account, they are able to fulfill all those issues in their generations, right? So that this is the first behavior that I learned, which I believe if this behavior continue, which it is growing right now, because of we can also see that globally today, people are actually being scrutinized of what they say. Even they can go to jail because of what they say on Facebook, on Twitter, and so on. So if this keep on happening and growing, then I can definitely see that pseudonymous avatar become a new norm, or pseudonymous identity become a new norm, and avatar, a lively avatar that can represent them, that can build their IP, will become a commodity in the future. So this is the first thesis, right? Now the second thesis. So basically, I've always been in the advertising industry, right? I mean, like even when I was at Tokopedia, I helped to build the advertising business, and I learned the digital advertising expenditure globally is very, very big. It take almost like 25% of the overall advertising expenditure budget, right? And you know what are the top three channels that they spend? The
What are the
first
top three?
one is Google.
Right.
The second one is Meta.
Right.
The third one is content creator.
Okay.
The third one. But content creators is not owned by any company because
Yes. It's
you have to
decentralized.
deal with millions of individuals
Yes.
who are content creators, right? So brands understand, when I'm at Tokopedia, I understand content creators are very impactful because with one content creator, you get awareness because they have a lot of millions of eyeballs. You get engagement slash endorsement because, someone that you look up to endorsing something, and you got affiliations, right? Oh, then you're affiliate to this kind of persona.
Yeah.
So brand really love it, right? But the problem is there are millions of content creators out there. Who should they deal with, right? So most of the time they will need to engage with an agency to help maintain like a content creator campaign, select like couple hundred creators and do campaign, right? But when it comes to an agency cannot make a lucrative business out of this because they don't own the talent, right? So between one agency and another agency, they undercut each other.
Yeah.
And with content creator, it's very cluttered industry as well because between one content creator with other content creator, they don't have standardized rate card, right? They don't have standardized engagement rate, right? So brand don't know how to measure it as well. So for example, if you own like have 100,000 followers, you might charge, let's say, $1,000. If I own 20,000 followers, I might charge $3,000. Why? I can defend that. Oh, I have a better quality followers and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
But it's very subjective.
Right.
So, but that's the third, advertising spend, which is content creator. So Bythen is basically creating a wall garden content creator community because of we built the IP, the characters, we built the platform that they are able to utilize, and we are going to bring advertisers into it. So we built an end-to-end closed loop platform, and if we do that, we are able to really help our content creators grow, and we can help them make a life and create an exciting opportunity by bringing brands and product or services to engage with them, while at the same time we are also able to have more lucrative revenue share by doing the end-to-end approach like this. So that's where we identify the opportunity, which is very unique. But like you mentioned, there is no North Star, there is no company that doing this. We are the first that we identify the opportunity. We try to democratize the virtual influencers, but whether we are too early or too late, time will tell.
Time will tell. Yes, I think one of the very interesting parts of your business right now is that it's fundamentally tech based. So you are pulling together a bunch of different technologies together. More on that, which is you're putting together sort of like an AR, augmented reality version where people can sort of like create their own avatars, right? And they are able to inject artificial intelligence into this to allow them to act on behalf of the creator, right? And then where the crypto comes in is that this is like the first go-to-market. You are targeting the communities of crypto and allowing them to change and use their avatars, which may be like a pudgy penguin or an Azuki, right? So the fundamental basis, like your thesis sounds very Web 2, but your implementation, because when you say like wall garden, you want to sort of like democratize and provide like this field for advertisers, but the implementation is hyper tech based. How did you actually get into wanting to use this type of technology? Why is the implementation this form rather than, let's say, like a social media?
Correct. No, you're right. I mean, like the core business that we are trying to build, we can just build it in Web 2.
Yeah.
Not necessarily build it in Web 3, right? Like you mentioned, the augmented reality, the 3D models, the AI, the content creators, the big basket is actually in the Web 2,
Yeah.
right? But now the question is more toward why Web3, right? So there are three reasons why we move to, not we move, we start with Web3. The first one, as a startup, we need a product market fit, right? So Web3 is the perfect use case. Why? Because we have a niche Web3 content creators. Although I call it niche, but it's still in the words of million content creators of Web3 globally, right? So they can be the first use case. And second, we are targeting a NFT community. And NFT community, we know, like blue chip NFT like Bored Ape, Pudgy Penguins. We know even today NFT is going down. It's still valued at $20,000-$30,000, right? So they have budget to actually purchase our service and product, right? So we will be able to generate revenue. And third, Web3 also have the behavior of maintaining a pseudonymous identity, right? So it's a good place to start finding the product market fit for us. So that are the reason why we start with Web3, because from day one we can be global, we can generate revenue, and we can work with them to get product market fit, right? Which is, as a startup, as we close our seed round, is to really find the product market fit before we scale it for Series A, right? So that's the perfect example. That's first, right? And second, why Web3? I'm talking about liquidity, right? Because with Web3, we are talking about $3 trillion market, right? And it's very, very large liquidity rather than if I build on Web3, Web2, then my story is what? Southeast Asia,
Right.
right? And when it comes to Southeast Asia today, even, there is the venture capitals, also have some challenge, right, to raise and deploying, right? And on top of that, when it comes to Web3, we also able to find a smart investors, right? Not just in like a venture capital that deploy on specific region, but a lot of Web3 angel investors, founders that can help us bring to the next level and create the global connections, right? And on top of that, with technology like NFT or launching a token through TGE, it's also able to quickly help us raise the funding, right? With the token, we'll be able to build a war chest.
Yes.
With the NFT sales, we will be able to build a ammunitions to grow our business, right? So liquidity is also a very important part of it. So if to conclude, there are three. The first one is a global launchpad. Second is the best approach to find the product market fit, and the third one is the liquidity for revenue making.
Right. I wanted to pivot away from the Web3 side and jump into sort of like the AI side, because you are building sort of like a globalized AI company from Indonesia, which is actually, and as an Indonesian entrepreneur, having your last two companies being based in Indonesia, we don't really find much AI founders coming out of Indonesia, especially one who's like had success like yourself, also in raising the early rounds for Bythen, and also the amount of reach that you've been able to get so far on the global scale. How do you think about sort of like AI in its current format? And in addition to that, how do you think about AI being in Indonesian and how that sort of like solves for also Indonesian market?
Okay, sure. Maybe I think for the audience here, I just take a step back first and explain about what is Bythen, right? So Bythen, we call our platform a Creator-fi platform. So what we do is that we create a characters, like, a Disney kind of character, a metal kind of characters, or NFT kind of characters, like it's a cute character, it's a cool characters, and then we sell this character in a blind box concept, similar to if you know Pop Mart, like
Yes.
an action figure, right? So if you go into our platform, we'll have our store where you can find a selections of characters. Oh, I like this kind of monster, or I like this IP.
Yes.
Then you can purchase the blind box. When you open the blind box, then you will get a unique character from Bythen, right? And these unique characters, the IP will be owned by you, similar
Yep.
to NFT because it's an NFT-backed character. Once you have that character, then you can use our platform, right, and train it to become your own AI agent. And when it comes to AI agent, there are two use cases. It can be used as first your companion, like your ChatGPT, your Grok, or DeepSeek, in which you can ask many things, you can engage, but instead of it reply with text, it reply using your characters with
Right.
a very engaging approach, right? And second, it can become your alter ego. So
Yes.
this alter ego will be our core focus, which is once you train it to become your alter ego, then it can represent you to many things. You can deploy it on Google Meet, Zoom call to attend a meeting while you are not available, or while you are sleeping, you want to do live streaming on TikTok, on YouTube, right? Because it's already being trained as what you want, then it can connect with the YouTube comment box, then people can engage, interact, and get entertained and get donations and so on. So while you are asleep, you are able to generate revenue as well. And you can use it for a live streaming, like you turn on your camera and become your character, and you can use it for Instagram live, TikTok broadcast, and Twitter broadcast, and so on, right? And on top of that, you will be able to create a content, like you want to create a Instagram story or an Instagram feed, right? So what you need to do is just write a script, and then we will auto-generate using AI your characters, and then you can edit your video with a different image element, video element. So imagine you become your own a virtual influencer, but using your character to represent you. So you build your own Mickey Mouse IP, your own Donald Duck IP in a way, right? With your creativity and explorations. So that's what is Bythen. So right now, Bythen already have 1,500 creators globally that already pre-ordered our product. And then once we launch the product, which actually this month and next month we will continuously deliver and ship some features, then later on we will bring the advertisers. So it become a complete package. You become creator, but you also don't worry about your sustainability as a creator, because we will bring advertisers to actually engage with you to promote the product, that service that you like, and they found it relevant to you. So that's pretty much about Bythen, right? Now, jump into your question. So basically, I think when you mention like AI company, right? So I want to give some education as well, right? When it comes to AI, there are two type of AI venture or AI company, right? I think the first one is the fundamental, which is the company that built large language modeling, right? This is like Llama from Meta, or OpenAI create the GPT, right? DeepSeek and all that. They create the fundamental, right? And I think from this company is really, really, capital
intensive.
intensive a business. It requires billions of dollars to actually compete in the space, right? And I don't think we are up to this game. This is more toward like maybe U.S., China kind of company with a deep funding, with the high affiliations with the technologies and so on. So basically, when it comes to that, there are only a handful of companies globally, right? But because of this, come to the next layer, right? Just like in the past, there is a cloud company providing cloud service like Google, like AWS, and so on. But through cloud, they are powering so many different companies that use the cloud, like Gojek, like Grab, right? Hailing, e-commerce, they are all use the cloud technology because it enabled them to do so, right? Now with the LLM companies, suddenly there are so many opportunities out there. For example, like Canva, right? So basically, Canva can leverage one of the creative design LLMs to power their AI solutions and so on. So I can say that today, what's most exciting for all the builders companies, whether you are in Indonesians or globally, is to build, now there is the underlying infrastructure of the LLM. You can create a wrapper, you can create another layer of solutions that you think can solve any pain point or can help productivity towards something, right? So I do believe that, when it comes to this, there are so many Indonesians AI company as well that try to, help improve productivity on so many different fronts, like CRM, like creating different software as a service, and so many opportunities out there. So a company like Bythen is this under this category. So,
Yes.
we don't, reinvent the wheel to create the LLM. So whatever the characters that we create, it's powered by one of the LLMs or combinations of the LLM
Yes.
that built into a wrapper, we call it, to make sure that the brain
Yes.
function as effective as we want it to be.
Yes, there's been a lot of talk about how the LLMs themselves will soon become commoditized. Like
Yes.
as they become more open source,
Yeah.
they become better over time. The standard becomes somewhat the same, right?
Yeah.
And so the next question then is, in an AI industry, what is the moat, right? And prior to us coming into this interview, we talked about, for example, a company like HeyGen.
Yeah.
Right, HeyGen is maybe doing something similar to what you're doing. I wanted to dive a bit deeper into what your moat is, or how you're thinking about building a moat in the AI space, and also if a creator comes onto your platform, where can they sort of like feel that moat also?
Yeah, sure. So I think that's a great question. I think the first mode is definitely, from our standpoint, there are two main modes, right, to make it defensible. Because we are a pioneer right now, then we cannot take it for granted. We
Yes.
have to we cannot be complacent. We have to continuously be very aggressive and keep on pioneering and driving the innovations. So the first mode that we have is definitely an IP. So basically, two of our investors are a Japanese venture capital that have a very strong network with the Japanese IP. And in fact, we already secured two Japanese IP that we will launch. And
That's cool.
Once we launch this, then it will like a snowball effect that, oh, okay, fingers crossed, things goes well. They get a positive image. They get the good revenue from us as well. And then we'll be able to attract more IPs into it. Just like how PopMart did it, right? I think
Yeah.
PopMart is my inspirations, right? Before they make their own successful IP, such as Labubu or Molly, so they started with licensing, all this IP. You go to PopMart store, you will see Minion, you will see Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and so on, right? Because they help to distribute the IP, give good revenue sharing to them, and hence all the IP want to work with them.
Right.
So I think for us, the first mode is to really, quickly secure a lot of IPs and become the pop mart of
Yeah.
digital characters.
Are you saying that one day someone will be able to use like an anime character as their
Definitely.
avatar?
Definitely.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
The Japanese IP that I mentioned is basically a very, very well-known IP. So, but we are not going to, it's, if you want to take an imagination, for example, like just pick one IP that you like, for example.
Like Naruto, for
Naruto,
example.
right? For example. So, like Naruto, we are not licensed the Naruto itself,
Right.
but we will create so many different ninjas that is not in the characters, but what we do is we put like a band. Oh, this is from the Sand Village. This is from that village, so people can relate that. Oh, this is the Naruto style character, and
Yeah.
it's licensed from Naruto, but all the clothing are different, but it still
Okay.
represent this
Naruto-like.
Naruto line. So people can relate to it,
Yes.
right? So we are not going to license the main character, but the attribute that
Okay.
people can relate. This is
Got it.
Naruto, and also licensed by Naruto company,
Right.
for example. So that's the first mode there. The second mode for us is really pretty much the distributions, right? So right now, once we build a content creator community, a strong one, right? That people use our platform and use the IP, and they become successful. So they will, have to work with us, right? Because the IP can only be used in our platform.
Right.
right? So it's connected one to another. If we create a great IP, they definitely don't want to go anywhere else, right?
Right.
And second, if we are able to build like a strong community, and on top of that, the way we do business is also we do a revenue sharing platform.
Right.
So this is why Web3 is interesting, because with blockchain technology, they will be able to whatever the revenue that Bythen make. So we distribute the majority of it to our creator community. So it's just like a like we are all growing and working and profiting together. So that's the approach that we take, right? Once we grow the community of content creators and we become the largest one, I think it automatically will become another mode itself. And the last mode is definitely the advertising that will keep this flywheel sustainable. Right. I understand that this mode is really about execution right now.
Yes.
We can only have this mode if we execute fast and execute flawlessly.
Right. So you talk about how like the business that you're building has a lot to do with marketing, right? And it's a telltale based on your background being the CMO of Tokopedia and also doing marketing agency. But do you see a future where the technology that you build will leave the marketing space and be used, let's say, in productivity or as more of a generalized agent? Do you see that type of future?
Definitely. I think the possibility is endless, right? Because what we are building is very simple. So we are building a character AI, right? So this character AI, the content creator is the first use case as well, right? So I mean, like, there are many applications to it, right? I'm not talking about B2B, for example, right? So imagine that now there are so many advancements as well in the augmented reality hologram technology. It's become more affordable and more realistic as well, right? And we already started seeing in China there are so many use cases of hologram talent or hologram customer service, right? So instead of you go to the mall, you find like digital directory.
Yes.
It's a hologram concierge. Right?
Yeah, there's even hologram concerts going on right now.
Yes. So the possibility is endless,
Yeah.
because fundamentally we are a character and IP building company. We build amazing character, amazing interactions, and so on. And the use case can be deployed to many different avenues, verticals, and businesses.
Right. And do you see that one day, let's say, because the character itself is sort of like a representation of your who you are, right? Or let's say like the alternative ego of who you are. Do you imagine a world where these alternative egos will exist as if they were people, as in they go off and interact? Let's say they execute tasks for you, which is more productivity based, like they go and do your shopping or they go buy stuff online and they interact online. And do you see that these characters may eventually interact with each other?
Yeah, I think eventually it's heading toward that directions.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, we are already seeing that all agentic agent, right, that continuously go deep on their use cases, right? So, for example, like, maybe if you are in crypto, you might aware of AIXBT, right? So at first, it's an automate AI agent that continuously update about what's happening in the crypto market, right? And after that, it evolved and to become more like a on-chain analyst, right?
Yep.
Really able to understand what's happening, what are the potential next meme coin from the pump fund analysis and so on, right? And after that, it become more and more sentient, in which it own its own wallet, and it can be it can deploy, it can trade, it can buy and sell, and so on. I think it will definitely move toward that direction where AI agent will be integrated into more and more action modeling instead of just a text-based modeling to answer your prompt or your needs.
Right. How do you think about the ethics behind the AI? So let's say that a creator comes and sort of like prompts this AI to start creating content for it. And maybe in the early stages, you might see that it's fully prompt based, right? You've prompted it to, let's say, a script.
Yeah.
But let's say like down the line, it becomes more naturally automated by building similar type content that I would have produced, and it becomes by itself.
Yeah.
But let's say it starts talking about something negative to the advertisers, or it says something that is misaligned. Like how are you thinking about that sort of like alignment problem?
Now, that's a good question, right? So basically, within our wrapper, we are also building another layer to guardrail the. We started with the word censorship, right? So we make sure that we won't say F word or any offensive word. We create this.
And is this an AI also, or how what,
we fine tune it as well as we go along, right?
Right.
So basically, it's a hybrid approach, right? So we started with this guardrail, but again, we don't know what we don't know because all this AI agent response, we cannot control it. We can set a parameter, but whatever it comes out, we cannot control a specific each word by word, right? So we'll continuously fine tune that, but we already realized that's the area where we need to focus on, especially considering that we are also licensing an IP, right? And they definitely don't want to be associated with any explicit image, alcohol, drugs, or pornography or whatsoever, right? So we definitely try to build more layer to protect this from the word guardrail, from the environment guardrail, such as the background that they use, the image, the text that they use, and so on and so forth.
Given that you're effectively building a virtual world, right? So like I can imagine the future where when Bythen becomes very successful, you would have a lot of these like virtual agents come out that are driven by AI but are a representation of creators. Right? But we've seen with technology advancement, even AI itself, even deepfake you mentioned, there and sort of like the hiding behind a wall, you see that there emerges sort of like fake representation, or sort of like people who try to be somebody else but they're not, right? How are you thinking about that in the context? Because I can see that potentially some implication of because Biden seems like it's building such a futuristic future, right? I can see like some, and this obviously leads to some implications, but how do you think about, let's say, like the increase of maybe fake representation, or people trying to sort of like use this sort of same character but slightly different and represent it wrongly, or how do you think about that?
Okay, I think that's a good question. So basically, I think the way we do it, right? So basically, there is always need to find the common ground parameters, right? But we know that the enemy of innovations is actually sometimes is the restrictions, right? That's why a lot of company that innovate, they are creating something that people never done it, and eventually when they do it, then it hit to certain limit, and then the regulator will start, hey, what is this, right?
Yes.
And then they will work with the regulator to work
refine
and
it.
find the common ground, the middle ground, right? So basically, I think it's gonna be the same, right? So when social media, it suddenly blow up and become more mass approach, right? Then we started seeing so many abuse, so many harm and suicidal and so on, and people explicitly do live streaming and so on, right? So many things become so messy, and eventually the company need to act fast to impose not just the policy but the consequence, and also really monitoring the content that coming out of their platform, right? And it's definitely the same challenge with Bythen, right? Because we don't know what we don't know. Who are
Yeah.
these content creator? And with content creator, the creativity is limitless, right?
Yes.
They can really come out with such a very interesting approach that we never think of before, right? But I think what's most important is that we closely working with them, hand holding them, continuously building a safety policy of what our platform can be used and so on, right? And because we already create a safety regulations approach within our platform, in which we will issue one to two warning if they go against our policy, and if they keep doing that, then we will just ban them from the platform, that they cannot no longer access their character anymore, right? So because as a content creator, that's actually the biggest challenge, when you no longer can access your IP or your account. Like, for example,
Yeah.
if you already have 1 million followers and we ban it, right? If you don't follow our rules, right, then you become afraid that you already have 1 million followers. This is your what's it called? Lifeline, right? You
Yeah.
make earning from this, right? So basically, that's how we are going to do it. And with content creator, although it's a very big community, but it's still not like a mass approach yet. So we still believe that by hand holding with them, continuously building a relationship, and also sharing more about the safety approach on how to build this together, I think is very important from the day one.
Right. Right. So I want to pivot into crypto now. You mentioned you got into crypto after Bright Story when you were at Tokopedia, and I know you're part of Spirit DAO. Spirit DAO is quite a famous DAO, actually, off the back of Azuki, and even you mentioned just now, like, the utility behind crypto within Bythen is purely for liquidity, right? But I would say that a lot of people within the crypto space have a different feeling of how crypto should be blended in with their product, and sometimes not necessarily find that there is a right fit between the crypto itself, which may be the liquidity provider, or in the Web2 space is similar to how you IPO and your stocks are in the public sector, versus the actual business itself, which is yours, which is the company that earns and operates and provides value. Why did you decide that crypto or NFT as a liquidity was the right way to go for your business?
Okay. So I think let me add into why we are entering the crypto space, right? I think liquidity is one, right? But there are many aspects that only Web3 can provide, right? I think the second one is the go-to market,
Yeah.
right? Web3, it can be a global launchpad for
Yeah.
any company if they do it right. And the third one is also the NFT technology is actually a very game changers to define an ownership. And what we do is that we democratize an IP of a characters, which NFT is solving that kind of ownership for our customers. And the fourth one is also because we believe in the social sharing economy model, that hence we provide, you give back the majority of our revenue and the revenue sharings from advertisers and so on back to our community. And this can only be done transparently through Web3 technologies. So those are the factors of why we are entering into Web3, right? Now, back to your questions. So basically, I see a clear, how to say, a unique prepositions, right? Because people in the blockchains are people that aware of technology, and they also want to ride the wave on what's gonna be big next, right? And it fit 100% with what we are building. We are building a platform for the futures. And if you ask who would become our supporter, who will greatly fit as our supporter, I can say the Web3 community. Because the Web3 community is trying to shape the future as well.
Yeah.
So if we are able to clearly communicate what we are building, our visions, I believe those are the right target market that can see the future, that believe, yes, that's the world that I also predict the next few years. And liquidity cannot just come, okay, because I'm in the Web3, there is a liquidity. We also need to show our ability to execute, to deliver, to ship, to walk the talk, right? So we are glad that most of us are Web2 builders, so we are used to really build,
Yes.
ship, and deliver, right? So when we show the progress, they can kind of see that, oh, this guy is not really just talking about the narrative, because a lot of Web3 companies just talk about the
Yes.
narrative, but they are, some of them actually not really delivering those narrative,
Yes.
right? So I think as long as we continuously maintain our narrative and remind why we are here, and we continuously show progress in here, and then what happen is the Web3 people will start seeing, and liquidity will start flowing into a company that have a strong narrative that's able to show execution.
Right.
Right. I think that's the opportunity that we have to really ride on this unique approach on building
Yes.
in both Web2 and Web3.
Are you planning to launch a token?
Yes.
Is it going to be a token? What's the use case? Maybe you can share a bit more about what's the use case behind the token.
Okay, I think the use case will come. I won't spill it today, right? The use case will come when we announced it, right?
Okay.
So I mentioned to you that we are going to continuously launch an IP, right?
Right.
And when we launch an IP, let's say an IP of 2000s unique character collections, right? And these unique character collections will have the NFT that right away can become an AI agent within our platform and can be used by content creator as their identity from day one, right? So when we launch this, it will also be backed by the IP token, right? So imagine that, like Paji Penguin, they have
Right.
Pengu,
Yeah.
Tokens, right? So
Right.
it's an IP related token, right? So we will have this IP related token for our IP that, the more the IP being developed and continuously grow as one community, as a cultures and so on, the more the token IP value will also growing together with the brand equity.
Very interesting. Are you going to let people invest in other people's IP?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like even let's say as Pengu a token, right? I'm a holder of
Yeah.
Penguin, but I mean, like even if you don't own a Paji Penguin, you can still be part of the culture,
Right.
right? Yeah, that's the beauty of Web3.
Wow. That's really fascinating. And but you don't come from a Web3 background. How did you get to understanding such a complex way about thinking about Web3? Because I've met a lot of Web3 people who would consider have Web3 backgrounds, but their level of complexity do not reach the depth that you yourself bring.
Yeah, I think I started venturing into Web3 since 2021.
Yeah.
So although I'm doing my Web2 job at Tokopedia, I'm also investing and learning in the Web3. I invest in a lot of projects, and really I used to be an active angel investors. Now I can say that I'm more active investing in the Web3 projects, and from there I think that's the best way to learn by in a way deploying your school fee
Yeah.
to learn about the ecosystem, right? So I think from there, I get exposed to a lot of different L2, L1, a lot of different use case of Web3 that, broaden my understanding of this, Web3 world.
Yeah. You say that you do you still now invest in the current market?
Strategically, yes, yes.
How do you think crypto has changed over time? Because you were, yeah, you've been investing for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think there are two prong approach, right? I think for me personally, I invest in the fundamental. I invest in a blue chip token that have a strong fundamental, and also I invest in the project at the early stage, right? So I think when it comes to fundamental, there is no right or wrong time because your horizon is the next 5 to 10 years,
Right.
right? So yeah, you can consider invest in the bear market, bull market, but if your horizon is big, then it doesn't matter for you.
Yeah.
I think that's my take because I'm not a daily trader. I'm more into like a fundamentalist of a certain token that I strongly believe in their use case, theme, and executions. And of course, they are, not yet overvalue of the potential opportunity. And second, when it comes to project, I look mostly into the theme, right? And within crypto, other people connecting. Other people reference is super important, right? So I don't normally people just randomly pitch a project, right? Normally it come from a strong network that already can vouch the founder or know the founder or have
Yeah.
can be vouch in a way we can hold if something goes wrong, then we know somebody who actually need to be responsible to it, be accountable to it. Right? Doesn't mean like they cannot make a bad investment, but at least they know the other project founders so that they can be
Yeah.
hold into it.
Right. We're coming up on time, but I had a couple of closing questions that I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you. As I said, like in the very beginning, like, and I think many of the audience has seen that your insight and your journey has been truly amazing. But you've gone from building a business, working in a corporate, to building in a business again. And I think like for myself, like I've only experienced building the business part. I've never experienced the corporate side. So I'm very curious as to the time that you spent at Tokopedia. How has that sort of reframed the way that you are now pushing Bythen?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm very grateful of the opportunity to work at Tokopedia. It's an amazing, wonderful company. I learned a lot. They have a great culture, great leader, and also make a great impact as well, right? So I think one thing that I learned that, for example, when I was at a Bright Story, right? It's although yes, it's a large addressable market, but nothing compare the whole market, which is Tokopedia cater, which is the whole physical goods market, for example, right? So it really opened up my horizon that to think big, right? Because the previous two companies I exited, when the team is about 100 people, 150 people, to build a team of 100 people with 5,000 people and to operate in such large scale require a lot of different mindset, different approach, different way of communications, right? And that are something that I learned a lot from my tenure at Tokopedia, and that learning I actually carry that learning into how I built Bythen, which is today, we are not just a Web 2 company, but we are a Web 3 company that is 24/7, and that is, have to have a global mindset because we are not just competing with the Indonesian company, but we are competing with everybody globally, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be fast-paced, aggressive, ship, make it happen, make it better, continuously break our own ceiling and so on and so forth. And those a lot of learning to be aggressive, to be competitive, to be do things at scale. I learned a lot, and we carry that learning into how we build and execute a Bythen, because we have a very large addressable market, and we have to think globally. We have to think big, although our executions and team start small in here. Yeah.
Right. And for closing thoughts, I wanted to give you some time, but more specifically, you started off by mentioning something that I think every entrepreneur, every business person should know, which is searching for the blue ocean. How would you advise entrepreneurs that are listening, whether that be taking a blue ocean from another market or bringing it here, or thinking about a blue ocean which is essentially infinite? How would you advise entrepreneurs who are building to actually think about blue ocean?
Yeah, I think finding your blue oceans can be very personal and unique process, right? Like in my case, just look at your surrounding. What are the a pain point, right? So when I get married, my pain point is to find a wedding vendors, right? And it come out with my own personal experience, right? And you just look, is there any solution that can help to solve this, and how big is the addressable market of this problem, right? And when you look into that, you will get an intuition, right? Oh, for me at that time, there is no solutions. There is no player that's solving that problem, and the market size is $7 billion, right? For me, it's a big enough problem with a big enough market size to solve.
Yeah.
Right. So some people might, I have this pain point, right? And your pain point is valid, but how big is the market size of that pain point, right? So you need to be able to practice, and now with AI, you can become like a brainstorm partner to sharpen your blue ocean thesis, right? And second, I think my my approach of finding a blue oceans within Bythen is because I continuously follow through what's where the technology goes, right? AI, blockchain. I mean, like a lot of Web2 builders are okay. Blockchain is another, it's not for me, right? But that's the future. If to my fellow entrepreneur who started a business, right? Maybe today is not the best time to raise capital, but if you are in blockchain, you build a network in the Web3, you have a better chance to raise your seed fund, right? Because it's a $3 trillion market that want that believe in the innovator, and very open-minded about what's to come, right? So for example, and there are so many ways to structure it, whether you can do your own token, NFT, or even raise from investors. There are so many creative ways to actually raise funding from Web3, right? So basically, now you need to continuously adapt and learn the new thing, right? And same with AI. AI is the next wave, right? With AI, suddenly they are opening up a lot of possibility to solve problem with a different approach, with a more productive approach, right? Maybe you can relook again now with AI and blockchain, right? These two are the big narrative right now, right? How can you solve any issue that are being solved by not leveraging these two? Because I do believe there are a lot of opportunities that where you can disrupt any industry by combining these two.
Right. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Kevin, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you for,
having me.
The whole conversation that we've had. For everybody who wants to find out about Kevin and Bythen, we'll put it out in the link below. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it.